God has opened doors for me slowly. I took the long path towards publication.
Which is perfectly fine.
And for me, I think it's actually been more therapeutic and more of God ministering to me through the process. I'm actually a very left-brain person. I was going to study chemistry in college, and that's where I like chemistry. I like math. Everything is consistent. It's the same. You know that 2 + 2 = 4. But when my husband was diagnosed with cancer, I needed an outlet and I needed an escape, and I just needed to get away from reality. So I started reading books, and I read everything that made me laugh and smile. And I was reading about a book a day. And by the time I got towards the end of all the authors that I enjoyed, I thought, hey, I can do this. That was in 2007. And my husband's cancer-free. Sometimes I forget to mention that. Yes.
Yeah,
so I like to let everybody know he's fine. We've been married now over 15 years. Things are great. But once I got that first manuscript published, I wanted to see, or finished, I wanted to see what it would take to get it published. And God took me through a lot of stuff. He taught me a lot about perseverance, and taught me a lot about how I had to rely on Him in many, many ways. And now my hope is that the stories that I write will be the escape for people that I needed. Life is hard and life makes you cry, and I just want to give somebody a good story that they can escape into for a few hours to get away from the troubles of real life.
Yeah, and that is that's something that reading can do. It can, as you might say, it can take you to places. It can inspire you. Of course, there are some types of fiction that perhaps deal with some very heavy and not particularly inspiring issues,
right.
But even in the midst of all, God can bring forth a message, and a message of hope, and seeing how He provides solutions and ways of escape and things of that sort. So fiction is something I know for me, I read quite a bit of fiction. Just finished a book last night I was just sharing with you. It's actually a book that I guess you would say is more in the suspense genre, but woven within it, you actually had a romantic element that came about. So, you've got, it's hard to, in some cases, to really pigeonhole a particular type of book as fitting into a particular genre. And of course, as someone that follows Christian awards ceremonies and things like that, such as the Golden Scrolls here and the Christie Awards, which of course are totally fiction oriented, plus some of the Writers Conference Awards and the recognition that you've got a lot, you have the attempts to place books into various genres, but people write in order to, I think, in order to entertain, in order to inspire, and in order to communicate truth. So, like you say, in your books, you're trying to really exude a sense of hope.
Absolutely.
And when you look at the types of books that you have published, there is there is a romantic element, a relationship element there. So tell me how it is that you kind of landed in that space.
Well, I didn't want to be a romance writer because there's kind of this stereotype, first of all, that either romance novels are easy to write, which is absolutely not the truth, or they're kind of vapid. They're just, there's no meat to them. But when I was sitting down and trying to figure out what types of stories I wanted to write, at the heart of everything, God is love. And why should I try, why would I want to pull away from that? Why would I not want to have a love story in the stories that I write?